Hello everyone, in this video we are going to talk about the poem Ulysses written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Alfred Lord Tennyson, who was the greatest poet of the Victorian era. He was poet laureate for 42 years. He lived for 84 years, and out of those 84 years, he was poet laureate for 42 years. Now, who is a poet laureate? Poet laureate is basically an award given to someone whose poetry is of national importance, and he was the one who was given this award, and he remained poet laureate for 42 years. अब जो एल्फ्रेड लॉर्ड टेनिसन है उसने जो अपनी थीम्स चुनी है, इट इज़ द क्लासिकल थीम्स, द मॉडर्न एंड द रोमांटिक. इट वाज द amalgamation of all these eras. और ये जो पोएम है, it is based upon a Greek hero who is Ulysses. Ulysses is basically a character of the Greek epic poem Odyssey written by Homer. Homer ने एक poem लिखी थी Odyssey, which was based upon the Trojan War, and Ulysses was one of the heroes from that poem. And this poem depicts the life of Ulysses, who came after 10 years of Trojan War. 10 साल Trojan War में रहने के बाद Ulysses अपने वापस किंगडम में आया है, इथाका में आया है, और ये पोएम डिपिक्ट करती है that what happens to him when he came back to his city, when he came back to his land, and what he felt at that time. Let us start with the poem. So, it starts with, "It little profits that an idle king by the still hearth among these barren crags, matched with an aged wife, I meet and dole unequal laws unto the savage race that hoard and sleep and feed and know not me." Very important lines. He says it little profits. कहता है इस चीज का कोई फायदा नहीं है. To sit like an idle king. Now, most of the people are, if they come to any kind of place where they just have to sit idly, they would enjoy a lot. But he is a king who is roaming with a hungry heart. वो कहता है कि it little profits me that I should sit like an idle king. एक बिल्कुल फ्री इंसान की तरह बैठ जाऊं मैं. By the still hearth. Now, what is the meaning of hearth? Hearth is basically जो हम फायर प्लेस को कंसिडर करते हैं. एक फायर प्लेस, स्टिल हर्थ मीन्स जो अब बुझ चुका है, बुझ चुका चूल्हा कह सकते हैं, फायर प्लेस कह सकते हैं. इट इज जस्ट टू शो दैट के टू सिट देयर आइडली इज नथिंग फॉर मी. ही सेज दैट by the still hearth among these barren crags. Now, what are barren crags? Barren crags are basically the rugged cliffs. जो रॉक है, पहाड़ है, पहाड़ियां हैं, उनमें कहता मैं आराम से बैठ जाऊं. दिस इज नॉट द लाइफ दैट आई वांट. ही सेज सिटिंग देयर विद एन एज्ड वाइफ, मैच्ड विद एन एज्ड वाइफ, कि मैं अपनी वाइफ के साथ वहां पे आराम से बैठ जाऊं. आई डू नॉट लाइक दिस काइंड ऑफ. नाउ इसकी वाइफ कौन थी? दैट वाज पेनीलोप. इसका नाम वैसे पोएम में नहीं आता, बट द नेम ऑफ द वाइफ ऑफ यूलिसेस वाज पेनीलोप. ही सेज दैट सिटिंग आइडली लाइक अ किंग विद अ एज्ड वाइफ, आराम से बैठ के अपनी वाइफ के साथ मैं बातें करूं. आई डू नॉट लाइक दैट. ही सेज आई मीट एंड डोल अनइक्वल लॉस. Now, what is meek and dole? That is that I make. Meet is to make, and dole is to distribute or to impose the laws. कहता अनइक्वल लॉज को मैं इम्पोज करूं किनके ऊपर? सैवेज रेस के ऊपर. वाई सैवेज? क्योंकि उन्हें सिर्फ एक ही काम आता है, दैट होर्ड एंड स्लीप एंड फीड एंड नो नॉट मी. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट लाइन्स. वो कहता है जो सिर्फ इकट्ठा करना जानती हैं, खाना जानती हैं, सोना जानती हैं लोग, क्योंकि वहाँ के इथाका के जो लोग हैं, या किसी भी स्टेट के लोग हैं जो नहीं जानते कि एडवेंचर क्या होता है. ही इज कॉलिंग देम आउट. ही इज टेलिंग देम दैट कि आई डू नॉट लाइक सच काइंड ऑफ पीपल. दे आर कंसिडर्ड टू बी अ सैवेज रेस. उन्हें सैवेज माना है उसने. एक ऐसे असभ्य लोग जिन्हें पता ही नहीं कि सभ्यता क्या है, जिन्हें पता ही नहीं कि लाइफ जीने का मतलब क्या है. सो उनके लिए लाइफ जीना क्या है? सिर्फ इकट्ठा करना, खाना, सोना. अब आजकल के लोग ज्यादातर यही कर रहे हैं, टू होर्ड, टू स्लीप, टू फीड एंड नो नॉट मी. मतलब वो कहता है जो मुझे नहीं जानते, दे ओनली नो कि किस तरह से इकट्ठा करना है पैसा, किस तरह से अपना पेट भरना है, खाना है और सोना है. इसके अलावा उनकी लाइफ में कुछ भी नहीं है. आई डू नॉट वॉन्ट टू बी अमंग सच पीपल. देन ही सेज आई कैन नॉट रेस्ट फ्रॉम ट्रैवल. आई विल ड्रिंक लाइफ टू द लीस. ही सेज कि मैं रेस्ट नहीं कर सकता ट्रैवलिंग से. I will continue to travel in my life. I cannot stop myself. I will drink life to the lees. कि मतलब बिल्कुल अंत तक मैं चलता जाऊंगा, मैं रुकने वाला नहीं हूँ. I want to use my life. I want to utilize every minute of my life to the fullest. I am not at all ready to stop. He says, all the times I have enjoyed greatly. Till the time he was not here, he's telling us about that. अब 10 साल ट्रोजन वॉर में रहने के बाद he came back to his city. तो अब वो क्या कह रहा है, कहता कि ऑल द टाइम्स आई हैव एंजॉयड ग्रेटली. जितनी देर मैं ट्रैवल कर रहा था, आई एंजॉयड ग्रेटली. ये नहीं था कि आई वाज नॉट एंजॉइंग एट ऑल. आई वाज एंजॉइंग ग्रेटली. हैव सफर्ड ग्रेटली. मतलब ये भी नहीं है कि he was just enjoying and that is why he was roaming and he was wandering, but the thing was that he was just traveling and he was getting the experience. It was not that all the experiences that he had were fruitful, that were good. No, he enjoyed greatly, he suffered greatly, both with those that loved me, line to consider, and alone on the shore. कहता ये भी नहीं है कि हमेशा I had a good company and that is why I continued my journey. I continued to roam about. It was just that कि I wanted to travel and that is why I never stopped. Stopping was death for him, so he never stopped. He says, uh, all the times I have enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me and alone. कि उनके साथ भी, जो मुझे प्यार करते हैं, मैं उनके साथ भी घूमता फिरता रहा हूँ. एंड अलोन ऑल्सो, कि बड़ी बार ये भी हुआ है कि मेरे साथ कोई भी नहीं था. अलोन भी आई अंडरटुक द जर्नी एंड आई एंजॉयड अ लॉट. When through the scudding drifts, the rainy haze vexed the dim sea, I became a name. Now he says that when through the scudding drift. Scudding drift is what? Scudding is basically when it was running, the clouds, the drifts are basically the clouds. कहते जब ये जो क्लाउड्स हैं जो बिल्कुल भाग रहे थे, मतलब बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रॉमी मौसम था, एंड द रेनी हेड्स वेक्स द डिम सी. नाउ व्हाट इज द रेनी हेड्स? हेड्स इज बेसिकली द ग्रुप ऑफ स्टार्स. कॉन्स्टलेशन का जो पार्ट होता है, द ग्रुप ऑफ स्टार्स जिसे हम कहते हैं. वो कहता जब वो स्टार्स ने, मतलब एकदम स्टॉमी नाइट है और वो स्टार्स ने एकदम से सी को डिम कर दिया है. Vex the dim sea is to disturb the dim sea. जो एक साइलेंट सी था उसे उन्होंने डिस्टर्ब किया है. किसने डिस्टर्ब किया है? स्कडिंग ड्रिफ्ट्स ने. जो एकदम से हवाएं चलती हैं तेज तेज, उससे क्या है, एकदम अंधेरा छा जाता है. तो उस टाइम पे भी कहता मैं, आई वॉज रोमिंग एंड आई बिकेम अ नेम. Why I became a name? He answers in the next stanza. He says, I became a name for always roaming with a hungry heart. Now, why he was roaming and how he was roaming? He was roaming with a hungry heart. Hungry heart. Now, what is the food for the soul? That you get what you enjoy. Now, he enjoys traveling, and that is why he says that I used to enjoy a lot because I was doing what I wanted. He was traveling throughout the world and that is why he was enjoying a lot. He says, much have I seen and known. अब वो कहता जब ये मैंने travel किया है घूमते हुए, much have I seen and known. बहुत कुछ देखा है, बहुत कुछ पहचाना है, बहुत कुछ देखा है. Much have I seen and known cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments, myself not least but honored of them all. और वो कहता है ये सब कुछ देखते हुए, इट वॉज नॉट दैट के that I just stayed there like that only. No. He said, when I was traveling, I have seen a lot and I came to know a lot of things because he was wandering with an open eye and open mind. He was trying to learn from everything that he sees. He was trying to grab as much experiences as he can. So he says that while traveling, much I have seen and known. बहुत कुछ मैंने देखा है, बहुत कुछ जाना है. क्या क्या देखा है, क्या क्या जाना है? The cities of men, वहाँ के लोग, उनके मैनर्स, वहाँ का क्लाइमेट, वहाँ की काउंसिल्स एंड गवर्नमेंट्स कि वो कैसे चलती हैं, सब कुछ मैंने देखा है. He says myself not least but honored of them all. And it was not that कि मैं बस वो देख के वहीं तक रह गया. I took it as an honor that I was lucky enough to get hold of all these things, and I just it all the good things that came across me, I became one of them. It became a part of my personality. I endowed it, I took it and I imbibed it. मैंने वो अपने character में लाने की कोशिश की है. He says but honored of them all, and drunk delight of battle with my peers far on the ringing plains of windy Troy. Now, while he was traveling, it was not that it was a very happy journey and he was traveling like that only. While he was traveling, he has seen a lot of things, and here he tells us that he drank the delight of the battle with my peers. कहता मैंने अपने peers के साथ मैं कहाँ पे गया हूँ, कहाँ पे मैंने क्या चीज देखी है. I have seen the battle also. जो मैंने battle की आपके साथ beginning में बात की थी, the battle of Troy, the war of Troy. So he is telling us that he says I drank the delight of the battle. मतलब मैंने उसका भी स्वाद चखा है कि एक युद्ध में लड़ने का क्या मतलब होता है, युद्ध में पार्ट लेने का क्या मतलब होता है. Because I was a part of it, so I witnessed everything, I experienced everything being on the war also, far on the ringing plains of windy Troy. Now, why he used ringing plains here? He says the plains are ringing because of the armor clashing together. क्योंकि जो वॉर ऑफ ट्रॉय चल रही है, तो उसके ग्रीक्स और जो ट्रॉयज के बीच में ट्रोजन वॉर चल रही है, तो वो क्या कह रहे हैं, द प्लेन्स आर ऑल्सो रिंगिंग. व्हाई इट इज रिंगिंग? इट इज हैविंग द नॉइज ऑफ the battle, क्योंकि the armors are fighting together, they are clashing together with each other. That is why he used the word ringing here, the ringing plains of windy Troy. Next he says, I am part of all that I have met, yet all experiences is an arch where through gleams that untraveled world whose margins fades forever and ever when I move. So he says that I am part of all that I have met. कि मैंने जो जो देखा है, जो जो सुना है, जिस जिस चीज को एक्सपीरियंस किया है, they all have become a part of me. वो मेरे करेक्टर का हिस्सा बन गए हैं. I have gained a rich experience and that of all that I have seen and I have met. He says, yet all the experiences is an arch where through gleams the untraveled world. ये एक तरह का कहता आर्च है, एक डोर है. जितने भी एक्सपीरियंसेस मैंने अभी तक किए हैं, इट इज जस्ट अ डोर वेयर थ्रू ग्लीम्स द अनट्रैवल्ड वर्ल्ड. जहां से क्या ग्लीम कर रहा है? द अनट्रैवल्ड वर्ल्ड. कहता है क्योंकि मैं जितने भी एक्सपीरियंसेस मैंने अभी तक पाए हैं, जितना भी मैंने अभी तक पाया है, जितना मैंने अभी तक एक्सपीरियंस किया है, दैट इज जस्ट एन आर्च, दैट इज जस्ट अ डोर वेयर थ्रू ग्लीम्स इज टू शाइन द अनट्रैवल्ड वर्ल्ड. कि मतलब अभी कितना कुछ नहीं पाया, वहां जाके मुझे ये पता लगे जितना भी मैंने आज तक किया है, पाया है, जितने भी एक्सपीरियंसेस मैंने गेन किए हैं, इट इज जस्ट एन आर्च. वो एक सिर्फ एक आर्च की तरह है कि सिर्फ एक डोर तक पहुंचे हो, और जब वो आप डोर को खोलोगे, देन यू विल सी देयर इज सो मच लेफ्ट टू एक्सप्लोर. दैट ग्लीम्स दैट अनट्रैवल्ड वर्ल्ड whose margins fades forever and ever when I move. जिसके मार्जिन्स जो कहते हैं, जैसे हमें लगता है ना कि एक रोड पे हम जब चल रहे हैं, तो एक रोड का जब हमें टी पॉइंट दिखता है, हमें लगता है दिस इज द एंड ऑफ द रोड. बट व्हेन वी रीच दैट टी पॉइंट, फिर हम आगे से देखते हैं कि एक और रोड राइट तरफ जा रहा है, एक और रोड जो है वो लेफ्ट तरफ जा रहा है. सो दैट इज हाउ ही सेज दैट कि जितना भी मैं पा रहा हूँ, जितना भी मैंने अभी तक अचीव किया है, दैट इज जस्ट एन आर्च. वो एक तरह का डोर है जिसे खोलने के बाद आई केम टू नो दैट कि देयर इज द होल वर्ल्ड विच इज अनएक्सप्लोर्ड. फॉर एवर एंड एवर व्हेन आई मूव द मार्जिन्स फेड. कि मतलब जैसे जैसे मैं आगे बढ़ता जा रहा हूँ, मार्जिन्स फेड होते जा रहे हैं, हटते जा रहे हैं, और मेरे को दिखता जा रहा है कि अभी तो और कितना कुछ है पाने के लिए. नाउ ही सेज हाउ डल it is to pause, to make an end, to rust unburnished, not to shine in use, as though to breathe were life. Very important lines. We need to understand it completely. He says that how dull it is to pause. कितना डल है, कहता है एक जगह पे आके रुक जाना, लाइफ को स्टेगनेंट कर देना, आगे ना बढ़ना. अब लाइफ में भी हमें यही हमेशा सीखना चाहिए कि वी नीड टू मूव ऑन. व्हेन वी स्टॉप, दैट इज द एंड ऑफ द लाइफ इटसेल्फ. सो ही सेज दैट हाउ डल इट इज टू पॉज, टू मेक एन एंड. किसी भी चीज को अपना अंत मान लेना, किसी भी एक्सपीरियंस को अपना अंत मान लेना. नाउ वी माइट फेस failures in life, but we should never stop in life. We might fall down, but we need to get up again and continue our lives. That is what he says. How dull it is to pause, to make an end, टू रस्ट अनबर्निश्ड, कहता है जैसे एक लोहा है, जब तक आप उससे काम लेते रहो तब तक वो शाइन करेगा, जब आप उसको यूज करना बंद कर दो तो वो क्या हो जाएगा, उसकी खुद की रस्ट ही उस लोहे को खत्म कर देगी. सो दैट इज व्हाट ही सेज, टू रस्ट अनबर्निश्ड, के बिना जले बिना यूज हुए ही रस्ट लग के मर जाना, नॉट टू शाइन इन यूज, के यूज में आना ही नहीं. तो कहता है इस तरह की लाइफ मेरे को बिल्कुल नहीं चाहिए. कहता है लोगों के लिए क्या लगता है उनको कि एज टू ब्रीद वर लाइफ, कहता है लोगों को क्या लगता है कि बस वो सांस ले रहे हैं, तो दैट इज लाइफ itself. For me it is not life. I want to utilize each and every minute that is given to me. I want to travel whatever is left. I want to continue my life forever and ever. I want to continue with the experiences that I have gained forever and ever. Next he says, life piled on life were all too little, and of one to me little remains. अब कहता कि दुनिया में इतना कुछ है, अगर हम एक्सप्लोर करना शुरू करें तो लाइफ्स का ढेर भी लग जाए. पाइल्ड ऑन लाइफ, लाइफ पाइल्ड ऑन लाइफ के बिल्कुल ढेर भी बना दिया जाए अगर लाइफ्स का, then also they are too little to achieve everything. Like if I say that I want to grab knowledge and as much knowledge as I can, तो अगर पूरी लाइफ पे इंसान लगा रहे तब भी there is no end to it, because there is no end to the knowledge. Similar is the case with, like, he wants to travel the untraveled world. तो world is so vast and various, we cannot travel it in one life. That is why he says that life piled on life, के lives का अगर ढेर भी लग जाए, then also it is too little to do whatever you want to do, to achieve whatever you want to achieve, and of one to me little remains. Why he says one to me little remains? क्योंकि he is an aged person, अब वो काफी बड़ा हो चुका है. But he says that, but every hour is saved from that eternal silence. Now to note here, eternal silence. He says कि little remains for me, life piled on life were all too little, and one to me little remains, but every hour is saved. पर कहता एक एक मिनट जितनी भी बची है मेरी लाइफ, I am saving each and every minute from what? From that eternal silence. Now what is that eternal silence? The eternal silence is the death itself. कहता जब तक death नहीं आ जाती, जब तक end, कहता मेरे लिए life का end is only death. Till the time I am alive, I am living, tab tak I'll continue with my work. He says that till I have the eternal silence, every hour is saved. He says, something more, a bringer of the new things, and while it were for some 3 suns to store and hoard myself, and this grey spirit yearning in desire to follow knowledge like a sinking star beyond the utmost bound of human thought. Now he says that something more, a bringer of new things. Okay, I want to attain something more, to bring something new. While it were, he says that morally it might be very low that I wasted the 3 suns. मतलब 3 साल, यहाँ 3 sons का मतलब ये नहीं है 3 दिन. Here he wants to hint at कि मैंने 3 साल यहाँ पे आके already बर्बाद कर दी हैं. When I came back from the Trojan War, I came to Ithaca. I already wasted 3 years of my life. It is morally low for me. While is something which is morally low. He says that I have already wasted 3 years of my life, but now I want to store and hoard myself. But now I want to save each and every minute that is left. And this grey spirit, why grey spirit? Because he's already old. He has become old in age, yet he's yearning in desire. Yet he's longing for the desires to be fulfilled. कि जो उसकी आशाएं हैं लाइफ से, जो होप्स हैं, he wants to follow that. क्या इसकी होप्स हैं? To follow knowledge. क्या चाहिए उसे? He wants to have knowledge like a sinking star. अब यहाँ पे जो sinking star भी इसने use किया, this is also somewhat ambiguously used. Sinking star could be thought of since he's of an old age, so that is why he's calling himself a sinking star. दूसरी तरफ हम ये भी कर सकते हैं कि जैसे knowledge के पीछे या किसी भी चीज के पीछे जैसे एक star is going on and it sinks, so it can be that also. But यहाँ पे जो ये कहने की कोशिश कर रहा है like a sinking star, why he's calling himself a sinking star? Because he is already at the end of his age. He has become quite old, and that is why he's calling himself a sinking star beyond the utmost bound of human thought. कहता I want to follow knowledge beyond the utmost bound of human thought. चाहे I am like a sinking star, चाहे I have become quite old in age, but still I want to continue my life. Still I want to follow knowledge beyond the utmost thought of humans, beyond the utmost bound of the human thought. Now, in this stanza, Ulysses tells us about his son, whose name is Telemachus. He says that, "This is my son, mine own Telemachus, to whom I leave the scepter and the isle, well loved of me, discerning to fulfill this labor by slow prudence, to make mild a rugged people, and through soft degrees subdue them to the useful and the good." He says that, "This is my son, mine own Telemachus." ये मेरा बेटा है जिसका नाम है Telemachus. "To whom I leave the scepter and the isle." Now, what is a scepter? Scepter is basically something that is used by the king in order to show his dominion, in order to show his supremacy. You might have seen कि जैसे एक बुर्ज की तरह बुर्ज kind of thing हाथ में पकड़ी होती है king के, जिसका एक मुट्ठा सा होता है on that stick. I'll just attach the picture of the same in the comment section so that you can get an idea of what it is. So he says that I will leave the scepter and the isle and this island to whom? To my son. To whom I am going to leave it? To my son Telemachus. He says, "Well loved of me, discerning to fulfill this labor." Who is well loved of me? He's already told us that of whom he is talking. He is talking about his son Telemachus. He says that, "Well loved of me." He is well loved of me. I love him a lot. And he is discerning to fulfill. He is willing to fulfill this labor. He is the one who will fulfill this labor of being a king, because he doesn't think the life of a king to be the so-called king sitting on the throne and just giving or just imposing the laws on the common masses. He thinks that this is also a labor, this is also work which has to be done with all the devotion, with all the strength that you have, with all the keenness, with all the qualities that you have. So he says that my son is able to fulfill all this labor by slow prudence. Now, what and how he will be doing it? He will be doing it with very close wiseness. He will be quite wise enough. He will be doing it with all the wisdom. He won't be very abrupt in doing so. Whatever he has to do, he will be doing it with being a wise person. He says by slow prudence to make mild a rugged people. And who are those rugged people? जिनका पहले भी उसने बताया था, the savage race, the people of Ithaca. He says that they are the savage people, they are the rugged people, and with slow prudence, with all the tenderness, he is going to make them mild. Mild means के उन्हें fit to the society, जो कुछ होना चाहिए, the soft enough, rugged, क्योंकि उसने use किया यहाँ पे in order to show that what kind of people they are. That is why in contrast he has used this word mild. And he says, and through soft degrees subdue them. Now कहता उसे subdue करेगा, उन्हें under control लेके आएगा, but with soft degrees. He is going to be very tender. He is going to be very soft in making his things meet in order to do the things what he wants to make them to become useful and the good. उन्हें अच्छा बनाने के लिए, useful बनाने के लिए, he will be doing everything with all the cautious, and he will be doing it with tenderness, with love, and will make them mild, will make them useful, will make them understand the true meaning of life. Now in this stanza he says that most blameless is he, centered in the sphere of the common duties, decent, not to fail in the offices of tenderness, and pay meet adoration to my household gods when I am gone. He works his work, I mine. Now, since he was telling us about his son Telemachus, Ulysses was telling us about Telemachus. Now he says that most blameless is he. He is quite an innocent person. He is completely blameless. He has not done anything for which he can be blamed. He is very innocent person. He says centered in the sphere of common duties. And Ulysses tells us that he can be given all the duties. He can be the center of it. He can be the one who can take hold of all the duties and can do it in the best possible way. Decent, not to fail in the offices of tenderness. And he says that my son is decent enough. He's quite decent. He is not going to fail in the offices of tenderness. Whatever work he will be doing it with all the love and the regard. He will be very soft, he will be very tender. And he, along with that, he will pay meet adoration to my household gods. अब जो राजा और रानियां होते हैं या जो इस तरह राजपाट होता है, इनके खुद के कुल देवता कुल देवियां हैं. He says that my son will pay meet adoration. He will pay all the respect and love to the Kul Devtas of our family. कि मतलब जो हमारी परंपराएं हैं, जो हमारे पूर्वज हैं, he is going to take care of them also. That in short, he will be doing everything that is assigned to a king. He will be taking care of the common masses. He will be taking care of his household gods as well. When I am gone, Ulysses says कि जब मैं चले जाऊंगा, he works his work and I mine. This is how he will be doing his work and I will be doing mine. Then he says, there lies the port, the vessel puffs her sail. There gloom the dark broad sea, my mariner's soul, that have toiled and wrought and thought with me, that ever with a frolic welcome took the thunder and the sunshine, and opposed free hearts, free foreheads. Now he says that there lies the port, the vessel puffs her sail. Now what is that vessel? जो समुद्री जहाज है वो कहता, that is calling us out. अब वो फिर से कह रहा है ना कि I will work mine and he will do his work. तो उसका वर्क क्या है? He says that कि the vessel is puffing. वो फिर से mariners जो हैं, मेरे fellow mariners जो हैं, they are calling me out. He says there gloom the dark broad sea. वो मुझे जो dark ब्रॉड सी है, जो ग्लूम है, जो धुंधला दिखाई दे रहा है, वो कहता है इट इज कॉलिंग मी आउट अगेन. माई मैरिनर्स सोल्स दैट हैव टॉयल्ड एंड रॉट एंड थॉट विद मी. जो मेरे मैरिनर्स, जो मेरे फेलो मैरिनर्स हैं, जिन्होंने मेरे साथ काम किया है, जिन्होंने मेरे साथ सब कुछ झेला है, जिन्होंने मेरे साथ सोचा है, मतलब वी हैड बीन टुगेदर थ्रू आउट दिस जर्नी, दैट हैव thought, wrought and toiled with me, that ever with a frolic welcome took the thunder in the sunshine. और इन लोगों ने, they were always welcoming, they were quite welcoming whenever there was the adverse situations also. He says कि the thunder and the sunshine. अब फिर से वही बात आ गई ना कि it is not that कि the life is all beautiful and that is why he is enjoying it. He says that they have faced the thunder and the sunshine. एक तरफ बिल्कुल जब storm है, thunder है, उसे भी इन्होंने बहुत ही frolic face से वेलकम किया है, खुशी खुशी उसे वेलकम किया, एंड सनशाइन ऑल्सो. दोनों चीज़ों को उन्होंने बहुत ही खुशी खुशी से वेलकम किया है. विद अ फ्रॉलिक वेलकम टुक द थंडर एंड द सनशाइन, अपोज द फ्री हार्ट्स, द फ्री फोरहेड्स, यू एंड आई आर ओल्ड. वो कहता है नो डाउट दैट वी हैव बिकम ओल्ड, वी हैव अपोज द फ्री हार्ट्स एंड द फ्री सोल्स, वी हैव बिकम ओल्ड इन एज. नो डाउट कहता हम एज में बूढ़े जरूर हो चुके हैं. ओल्ड एज हैथ येट his honor and his toil. He says that फिर भी old age का एक अपना honor है, एक अपनी toil है. जब तक death नहीं आती तब तक we have something to look after. Life तब तक चलती रहेगी जब तक हमारी लाइफ में कोई होप है. जब हम किसी चीज को अपना अंत मान लेंगे, सिर्फ तभी अंत होगा. That is why he says that old age hath yet his honor and his toil. Death closes all. He says there is no doubt in the fact that the eternal silence is death. जब डेथ आ गई, इट विल क्लोज एवरीथिंग. बट टिल द टाइम वी हैव डेथ, टिल द टाइम इट हैज नॉट कम, till the time we are alive, we need to continue throughout the life. He says something over the end, कुछ अभी भी बाकी है. अंत तक कुछ ना कुछ ऐसा होनी चाहिए, कोई ना कोई रीच हमें ऐसी होनी चाहिए, कोई ना कोई होप ऐसी होनी चाहिए that sustains our life. He says that might be some work of the noble note. हो सकता है कि कोई ऐसा नोबल काम अभी करना रह गया हो, may yet be done, जिसे अभी भी पूरा करना है. Not unbecoming men that stop with gods. अब ये जो वर्ड लिखा हुआ है not unbecoming means becoming. Not and un जो है ये दोनों एक दूसरे के साथ क्रॉस हो जाएंगे तो it will become becoming. Okay, so poetic language यहाँ पे यूज की हुई है. It means that what we want to do, becoming men that strove with gods. कहता है इतनी अभी हमारे में स्ट्रेंथ है कि अभी भी वी कैन फाइट विद द गॉड्स ऑल्सो. कि ये नहीं है कि दैट इज द एंड ऑफ आवर लाइफ. नाउ इट इज नॉट दैट कि ही इज बीइंग अ थीस्ट एंड दैट इज व्हाई ही इज कॉलिंग आउट कि वी विल फाइट विद गॉड्स. It is just that कि being in the Trojan War, he also fought with the gods also. The Greeks had a very the Greek mythology is full of the gods and the goddesses. तो वो कहता we had been fighting with all those and still we have that courage कि we can continue with that thing. We have that vigor. Old age hath its own honor, its own toil, its own vigor, its own strength. That is why he is calling out these words. Next, he says, the light begins to twinkle from the rocks. Then he says, the long day wanes, the slow moon climbs, the deep moans round with many voices. Now, the lights begin to twinkle from the rocks. कहता वो पहाड़ों से एक लाइट चमकती दिखाई दे रही है. The long day wanes. Wanes is something which is ending. अब जो long day है, it is ending. The sun is setting. The slow moon climbs. और कहता जो रात है वो बढ़ती जा रही है. The moon is climbing up. The deep moans round with many voices. The deep is the sea. कहता जो deep है, it is moaning round with many voices. Sea में से बहुत सारी आवाजें आ रही हैं. He says, come my friends, this is not too late to seek a newer world. अपने फ्रेंड्स को बुलाता है, उन्हें फिर से हल्लाशेरी देता है एक तरह की. He says that, come my friends, let us go once again to seek the newer world because it is still not too late. अभी भी हम बहुत कुछ एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हैं, अभी भी बहुत कुछ पा सकते हैं. It is not still too late. He says, push off and sitting well in the order's might, sounding furrows, for my purpose holds to sail beyond the sunset and the baths of all the western stars until I die. Now he says, push off and sitting well in the order's might. कहता let us hit back. Smite is to hit something, to slay something. He says, let us push off, let us hit something, let us just continue. What to hit? He says the sounding furrows. जो ये इतनी आवाज करती हुई लहरें हैं, the waves हैं, let us hit that once again. Let us go to the journey once again. Let us go to the voyage once again. और ये जो इतनी भरी हुई लहरें हैं, let us hit that. Smite the sounding furrow is कि let us hit those waves कि उन्हें भी हम क्रॉस करते जाएंगे. क्यों? हमारा पर्पस क्या है? हम कहाँ जाना चाहते हैं? To sail beyond the sunset. Where we want to reach? We want to go beyond the sunset. The baths of the western stars. अब ये बेटा ग्रीक माइथोलॉजी में दिया हुआ है इस तरह की एक थॉट. क्योंकि जो ग्रीक्स हैं they used to think that the sun and the stars that actually sank into the sea. So he wants to say that कि जो west से आते हैं ना stars, the stars and the sun that sets in the west, they thinks that कि western star इसने इसीलिए कहा है कि जो west में ढलते हैं stars और sun, they think that in the Greek mythology it is said that it sank into the sea itself. So that is what he says that कि मैं जाना चाहता हूँ, I want to go beyond, to sail beyond the sunset. Sunset से भी परे वहां पे जाना चाहते हैं जहाँ पे sunset के बाद और जो sinking star है जहाँ पे चले जाते हैं, जो कि मैंने कहा है ना आपको कि एक रेफरेंस ली गई है Greek mythology में. The Greeks used to think that the sun and the stars actually sank into the sea after they had set in the west. West में आने के बाद when it sets down in the west, so it goes into the sea. So he says that I want to go beyond that. I want to continue my journey till I discover that place where the stars and the sun sets. Now, in this stanza, since Ulysses is calling out his friends, he says that it may be that the gulfs will wash us down. He is telling his friends that there might be something bad waiting for us. The gulfs can wash us down. Now, what are the gulfs? Gulfs is basically जो थोड़ी सी खाई कह सकते हैं हम, a ditch, space between a land and a sea, जो ditch बन जाती है. So he says that it may be that the gulfs will wash us down. हो सकता है कि उस ditch में फंस के ये हमें अपने साथ बहा के ले जाए. It may be that we shall touch the happy isle. और कहते दूसरी तरफ ये भी हो सकता है कि हम किसी हैप्पी आइलैंड पे पहुंच जाएं, किसी ऐसे आइलैंड पे पहुंच जाएं जो कि अभी तक अनएक्सप्लोर्ड है. एंड ही सेज दैट एंड सी द ग्रेट अकिलीज whom we know. और ये भी हो सकता है कि हम उस आइलैंड पे पहुंच जाए जहां पे हम जो ग्रेट ग्रीक हीरो है अखिलीस, हम वहां तक पहुंच जाएं और उससे मिल जाएं. देयर आर ऑल द पॉसिबिलिटीज. देयर माइट बी समथिंग गुड वेटिंग फॉर देम, देयर माइट बी समथिंग बैड, बट ही इज रेडी फॉर बोथ. ही सेज दैट वी नीड टू कंटिन्यू our journey forever and ever. So he's encouraging his fellow mariners that let us go once again. But he says that though much is taken, much abides. बहुत कुछ कहता पा लिया है पर बहुत कुछ अभी बाकी भी है. And though we are not that strength which in old days. कहते ये भी बहुत बड़ा फैक्ट है कि अब उतनी स्ट्रेंथ भी नहीं है जितनी ओल्ड डेज में थी, क्योंकि वो तो शुरू से ही जर्नी कर रहा है ना. कहते उतनी स्ट्रेंथ भी नहीं है जितनी ओल्ड डेज में थी. दैट यूज टू मूव द अर्थ एंड द हेवन विच वी आर. कहते पहले के टाइम में we had that much strength कि we could move the heaven and the earth, but now the things have changed because we have become old. But what we are, जो हम हैं one equal temper of heroic heart. Why heroic hearts? वो कहता we have that equal temper because we are the same in the spirit. कि अभी भी we people are yearning and desire. We want to follow knowledge. We want to go beyond everything. We want to continue our life with all those experiences. We don't want to stop. So that is why he says that one equal temper of heroic hearts. कि अभी भी अंदर हमारी जो will है that is still the same. Made weak by time and fate. No doubt कहता टाइम और फेट ने हमें जरूर वीक कर दिया है, क्योंकि अभी तक हमने वो कुछ नहीं पाया जो हम पाना चाहते हैं. टाइम भी बहुत निकल चुका है. वी हैव बिकम ओल्ड बट स्ट्रॉन्ग इन विल. पर फिर भी कहता विल पावर हमारी बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग है. द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट लाइन्स ऑफ द पोएम, द लास्ट लाइन्स ऑफ द पोएम, you will see these lines everywhere in your life. He says to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. What he wants to do, he wants to strive, he wants to try to achieve something, to seek, to try to acquire. He doesn't want to stop. He wants to strive. He wants to try to achieve something, to seek, to achieve something, to find. ढूंढना चाहता है वो, not to yield. He doesn't want to stop. वो हार नहीं मानना चाहता. And here the poem ends. To strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. I hope the poem is clear to you all. I hope you have liked the video. If you liked it, kindly subscribe to the channel and share it. And the link to this quiz will be given in the description box where you can check what you have learned. Thank you so much.